Hey guys, this is Wandering into the Woods, a podcast brought to you by Adventures with BG. We are your host, Jarrett.
I'm Linda.
I'm going to be talking about a recent pack rafting and waterfall adventure.
And I'll be talking to you about a trip to the Rio Grande Valley and the Charro Days Parade I attended.
So my adventure started with a recent post on Instagram. Someone brought a waterfall to my attention called Post Oak Falls. It's in the Colorado Bend State Park area. And once I saw that, I was definitely more than willing to try out my pack raft again and get a chance to go chasing a waterfall.
Yeah, I was not too thrilled about when you told me about this place and how you would have to get there.
I mean, the Colorado River's pretty slow, so it's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But talking a little bit more, Colorado Bend, the state park, is over 5,000 acres, and it's about 2 hours northwest of Austin. The jewel of the park is called Gorman Falls. It's a 70-foot waterfall fed by the Spicewood Creek. The park itself is about 10 miles above Lake Buchanan on the Colorado River, and it's a pretty cool park. It's got one of the lowest light distribution in the night sky of like all the Central Texas areas. So it's a good place to go if you want to watch meteors or the moon.
Or just stargazing in general.
Yeah, stargazing in general, yeah, because there's not a whole lot of light. But getting onto the trip, so the Post Oak Falls is about a mile down the Colorado River from I don't know if it's technically the southern point of the park, but for purposes of this, the southern point of the park. You can only get there by boat. The falls goes directly into Colorado River. Thankfully, the Colorado River is very slow flowing, so you can go up and down the river with little difficulty. It's not like one of the smaller, faster, like the San Marcos River, where you could go down it, but there's no way you're getting it back up unless you're pretty experienced and have a lot of endurance.
And strength, probably.
Yeah. So me and a friend, we took out my 2 pack rafts to the falls. I've got a new one. It's a Cocopelli. It's actually rated for whitewater, so any chance I can get to take it out and kind of use it, I love to.
We did make sure to ask this friend of yours whether he knew how to swim before the trip.
Yeah.
Safety,
He was good. He was ready to go. So the fall itself, there wasn't a whole lot of water. It's definitely bigger than the 70 feet for Gorman Falls. I don't know, 100 or more. It's much wider too, but there wasn't a whole lot of water falling during that time. I'm sure now, after it's rained quite a bit, it'd be a lot bigger. And we paddled around the base for about 30 minutes. I don't know, it's very wide. And then we got out at the very, very bottom with a little standing room to stretch our feet. We didn't want to go too far in. We fought that temptation to go up and in the waterfall because it's got like caves built into it too. We assumed that it was a sensitive area, so we wanted to protect the spot.
That was good. That was nice of you guys.
Yeah.
Really conscious.
But I wanted to so bad. Once we looked around, paddled, saw it, we headed back and we decided to hike the Spicewood Spring Trail. That's a good thing about pack rafts is you just pack them up into a backpack and go. So we didn't have to drop anything off at a car or change or anything. So you just go. Mm-hmm. The Spicewood Spring Trail itself crosses the stream there multiple times, and it creates a bunch of swimming holes and pools of water, and it's fed by a whole bunch of small waterfalls. So I've never been to that area of the park. I always go to the Gorman Falls area and the Dog Canyon. So this was like a kind of a surprise. I didn't know there was something this cool down there, but it was definitely a good trip. Taking that, I'm glad I did, and I think you'll like it too next time we get the chance to go out there. So that was the trip out to Post Oak Falls.
So what is it about Post Oaks that most stood out to you that you really recommend? Like, if, for example, you're trying to convince me to join you. What would you tell me to? Why do I have to go?
So I mean, Texas does not have a lot of large waterfalls, so right there, that's one of the things. And it's just it's like a cliff face, but then it's like a bit eroded away to have caves and stuff where waters fall in and run through it. So I think that's kind of unique. I don't know. It's kind of unique as far as waterfalls go because you kind of expect like here's a waterfall and it continues on into the same kind of body of water, whether it be a river or a stream. But this is where a stream meets a river and it happens to be a waterfall at the same time. And I think that's pretty unique. And since I'd never been there, I was looking at it Google Maps to make sure we hadn't missed it. And I'm like, oh, the falls is just before this stream. And I didn't realize that the stream was going to be like 100+ feet above us.
Oh
And
wow.
that's what actually created the waterfall. Yep.
Wow, sounds really cool.
It was.
So I was happy to have attended my first Charro Days parade in about 10 years at the end of February. Charro Days Fiesta is a celebration held by the border sister cities of Brownsville, Texas, where I'm from, southernmost tip of Texas. And that city is the one that hosts the celebration along with its sister city, Matamoros, in Tamaulipas, Mexico. And this festival has been held since 1938. It includes parties, concerts, and celebrations on both sides of the American and Mexican borders. It
Does it signify something specific, like a
Yeah.
special day or an anniversary?
No, it was created like solely like it's a regional holiday and it's still only limited to Brownsville and Matamoros.
Okay.
So since then, other border cities have developed their own border festivals as well, and even San Antonio has their fiesta
Okay.
days as well. But the Brownsville Matamoros one was the first one in 1938, and
It's not held on some like religious holiday or something
no,
like that. Okay.
no, it's
They just
held
picked a random day.
well, it's held the last. It starts towards the last week of February. So this week, this year, it was literally on the 29th that they held the parade. So it had started a few days. The fiesta had started a few days before that, and it ended with the parade on Saturday.
Okay.
So it was. So it is a local event. Schools closed down for this type of event, and it's filled to capacity. A lot of seats are there, and even that gets filled up. And I was looking for umbrellas for my parents and me, and I couldn't find any that were less than $12 for like those dollar store umbrellas. So we decided to go without them. I did make sure to get some lemonade and some elote while I was there.
What's elote for everyone?
It's just Mexican corn, preferably white, but sometimes it's yellow, mixed with lemon, mayonnaise, chili powder, and cheese, and it's really good. If you're into that tangy tasting food, I know Jarrett, you're not a fan of it,
It's
but
not for me.
yeah, but I love it, and so I had some of that, and some delicious lemonade as well. And I actually walked down the entire Elizabeth Street, which is where the parade is held that day, looking for these umbrellas, and it was really good to see all this life in the city, um, being brought by love and cherishing this multicultural pride that exists in that southernmost Texas, especially during these contentious times. So it actually it's called Charro Days, and Charro is another word for cowboys, but cowboys adopted their culture from the Mexican charros, which are the ones that would be doing all the cow wrangling and doing all the ranch sort of style living. And so you'll see a lot of like cowboy and charro themes in the parade and in the fiestas. So, like I said, I got to attend the parade. It's the biggest event for the entire fiesta, and it's actually an international parade that starts on the Brownsville side, goes across Elizabeth Street, and then crosses through an international bridge to the Mexican side. This year's parade featured numerous vintage cars, which I don't remember as a child seeing, so I don't know if this is a more recent thing or if just as a child, as a little girl, I wasn't as interested in them. But you had cars from the 10s all the way to the current time, beautiful, and it was just really nice to see that. We also had very talented singers, mariachi bands, banda bands. You had the Shriners of America, the association that takes care of kids that have undergone serious burns or injuries of that nature. They also parade a lot, and they bring their little carts and lots of clowns. You have a lot of dancers, professional and also from schools. You have police and military marches as well. You have awesome cowboys and charros lassoing. There's also a lot of horses that are a part of the parade. Obviously, you're seeing a lot of cowboy and charro and charra and cowgirl outfits as well that are being paraded. as well as pinup gals, which I thought was really interesting. I saw a lot of these pinup gals with the classic vehicles that were being paraded. And what I was most astonished to see was the U.S. Border Patrol. Even the U.S. Border Patrol participates in this parade.
Hmm.
So that was a little heartwarming to see an organization that is often stigmatized because of their job to defend our borders, showing that they're also trying to work with our sister city and celebrate our multicultural heritage. And the parade's biggest draw every year on the American side is Mr. Amigo, who is kind of like the host of the party of the fiestas. And his this year it was Julio Cesar Chavez, the multi-time boxing champion of the world in 3 weight divisions. Growing up, I watched a lot of his fights because my dad was a big fan and my uncles were as well. And I don't know, it was just really, even I felt really excited to see him in person and see what he looked like, which was,
Well,
yeah, he's pretty short, which you would expect for, he was a lightweight. Um, and but it was really interesting to see him in person. And then, really charismatic guy, said hi to everybody, just seemed to be really down to earth from the little bit that we got to see of him in the parade. Um, Matamoros also has their own uh, celebrity that comes and hosts the parties on their side of the border, and they call it Valor Nacional y Huésped Distinguido, which translates into a nationally valued and distinguished guest. And this year it was Edith Marquez, who is a Mexican actress.
that title is much longer than Mr. Amigo. It
Yeah,
does not flow off the tongue, at
it,
least
it does
in
not.
English.
It does not, and I think it's changed over the years. But that's it because I was very confused looking. I was like, "Wait, what does this mean?" etc. But and I forget what it was called a few years ago, but that's what they call it now. And she is a beautiful actress. When I saw her in person, I was like, "Wow!" Like the camera does not capture how beautiful she is in person. And so that was really amazing to see. And yeah, we really had a good time. Just, you had great food, you had great music, you had dancers, you had horses, you had cowboys, cowgirls, charros, charas. Like it was just a really beautiful celebration to attend and to be part of.
Sounds like a good trip.
hmm Well, guys, we hope this episode has inspired you to explore for waterfalls or attend cultural events that give you glimpses into the past, present, and future in your area.
If you like what you heard, don't forget to visit our website, adventureswithbg.com, or look us up on Instagram at adventureswithbgs. Stay safe and wander into the woods.